So let's get started. Renee Liao, thank you for joining us tonight, Renee. Renee has graduated from the University of Toronto in software engineering and worked for IBM and TELUS and was earning an $80,000 a year salary. He was introduced by his sister and is now the company's youngest millionaire, a lifestyle director who qualified for the luxury car program and drives a prepaid luxury car from the company. A $20,000 Tesla P90D. He's reached $100,000 a month in earnings, and more shockingly, with only 7,000 people. His team is now over 28,000 people in over 110 countries around the world. He's happily married after proposing to his wife Heidi with a $47,000 Ferry Marsh 21-carat gold ring, now with $80,000. With two young boys, Rex and Leon, he's able to travel the world with his family. He just made a recent purchase building, and his custom $5 million home is currently in. He's here to support us and train us. He's a founding member, shareholder, and sits on the company's CEO's advisory board, and also received the highest award in the company, the President's Cup Award, twice. So that is just a little sneak peek into Renee's long line of success, and that's definitely somebody I business from. So Renee, I'm just going to give you the time to really share and lead us tonight. I'm so excited to say what you have to say. Renee, chat.
All right. Well, again, a very good evening. Thank you, Sheila, for the amazing, introduction. I just want to double check if everyone else can hear my audio okay, because you were kind of cutting in and out for me. And I wasn't sure if that was me or if it was you. So if you're on the call, everyone, if you could send me a quick message to let me know that at least you can hear me okay and I'm not being choppy, that'll be great. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to try to find a way to reconnect. But okay, thank you. Everyone is hearing me fantastic. All right, well, again, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone on the call. Again, I love our Thursdays. I love our Tuesday calls because, again, to me, the Forensic Networker call is a call really for those who really want to take their business seriously. You know, you really want to go somewhere with your business and make big things happen again, because it's more about, you know, it's not about product training like on Monday night or different various sort of business topics on Saturday morning's training. I feel like Tuesday night trainings are really, really geared towards the people who want to make a huge difference and who really want to be able to, for example, replace their job income. Maybe you're sick and tired of doing what you're doing and you want to find a different life to live, a different path. And that's what these calls are for. And so if you haven't had the chance to, of course, invite all of your team members and remind your partners to join the call, please do. So one of the things, of course, when we talk about tonight is just about that, which is what we call team support. Team support is one, of course, the activities and the main topic for today's training, which of course is IGA. Now, if you're new to what the term IGA stands for, let's see here, of course, if everyone here recalls, what does IGA stand for? Let's get some quick feedback on the group chat to make sure. There we go. Thank you very much, Tanya. It's income generating activities. So what are the activities that you are doing and generating to create that income that you want to create? And as promised, this kind of ties into our last week's training that we talked about, which was really some proper goal setting. So again, the three questions that we asked last week, if you missed last week's call, the three questions we asked, question number one was, how much money or income do you want to earn per month to make this work worth your time, right? Some said 5,000, some said 10,000, some said $15,000 per month. Fantastic. And who knows what was the second question that we asked? Because question number two is what we got to do today, all right? To figure out how we, so again, before I get there, let's see really quickly, what was question number two from last week? So again, question number one was, how much income do you want to earn per month to make this business really worth your time, right? Yes, thank you, Bella. The second question was, how many hours per week are you willing to work in this business consistently, of course, not like 1 week on and 10 weeks off, but consistently to unlock that income you wrote in question number one? And I heard people say 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours. And of course, the third question that we asked, if everyone can recall, the third question was really to make you realize that it will take some time, right? It's not a become a millionaire overnight, get rich quick scam, because we know those things don't really last. And most of the times you're hurting people then instead of helping people. Thank you, right? Is how many years are you willing to work those hours per month in order to achieve that income per month, right? And so I love, again, those three questions. I know that when Ifra was doing, of course, her boot camp and her training in Minnesota, she asked the exact same three questions, did the exact same training, and people loved it. Again, I feel it really puts a realistic expectation on what can happen and what you have to do, of course, in this business, right? So speaking of the question number two, which was, again, how many hours per week are you willing to put into this business? And to me, I think it's really important that you actually figure this out. If you're the kind of person that kind of says, well, you know what, as much time as possible. I find that that's not really a concrete answer, and that other priorities might take over and you kind of forget what you should be doing. Or perhaps you're not even really sure what you should be doing, right? And so today's topic really is, how do you spend that time that you had promised, you had committed? We must make a promise to ourselves, right? I had the chance of meeting up with, again, some very, very successful people, not in MLM, just, in their own business. And this is a gentleman that, again, owns the $5 million yacht that you've seen our CEO and myself be on. He owns this, beautiful estate where he hosts his weddings. And although he is financially free, when we actually went golfing together, by the way, and he was telling me, I asked him, what is your DMO, as we call it, your daily method of operation, or your WMO? What's your weekly method of operation? He told me, he said, Renee, every single morning at 8:30, I go into my office. I believe that, you must be in your environment every single day. So although he doesn't have to be at his estate, running all the different people, he wants to be there because it's been his discipline. So we all need to have something that we can follow. And that, of course, is, how do you spend your time? So last week, I ended off the training call before Henry took over with, how do you want to spend those hours per week? And who recalls the breakdown that I find worked really good for me, especially in your first few months or even first few years of the business? Truly and really, until your team reaches a large enough size, you should be following this equation of, thank you, I love that, right? The 10, 20, 70. So if you're not sure what that is, again, tonight, folks, is a time to get yourself a piece of paper and pen, because it will make a difference to write down what you learn in these trainings. Every single time I went to a training, either I was typing or I was taking notes, right? And so again, write this stuff down, because that's how it's going to stick deeper into the crevices of your mind, all right? So of the hours you put, whether you said 15 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours, maybe 70 hours, if you're like full-time, fantastic. I find most people that have a full-time job or like a 9-to-5 kind of job, they can put maybe 15, 20 hours per week, right? And again, how are you spending that time? It really matters. And I've seen some people say, well, I kind of, I'm on social media. Maybe I'm on Facebook here and there, kind of flipping through Instagram. Well, is that really you using social media, or is that social media using you? And there's a big difference between the two, right? There's a big difference. A lot of people, right? Then it's not them using social media. Social media is using you, right? You're not using it to your full benefit. So this 70% we're talking about, okay? The 70, 20, and 10%. The 70% of your time, especially if you are brand new or you don't have a very large organization, is 70% of your time should be put into prospecting. marketing, right? So 70%. And we're going to talk about in a quick second exactly what does prospecting actually look like? Well, what counts as prospecting, or as we call the IGA, the income generating activities. Write it down. 70% of your time should be in IGA. And again, browsing the web, browsing social media, going through your Facebook, Instagram, news. That's not what we're talking about for IGA, okay? But 70% of your time should be in income generating activities. Another 20% should be in team support. And we're going to talk about it tonight. Well, what does team support look like? And the danger sometimes of doing too much team support, you gotta work smart, not work hard. Because some people do so much team support that they end up actually almost like handicapping, or they're babying their team, and they're not allowing their team to also grow. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. 20% though in team support, and 10%, the last 10% of your time. So if you have 20 hours a week, then 10%, which is 2 hours a week, should be put into what I call, what everyone knows about, is called personal development. Personal development. And there's a lot of things that go into personal development, right? So let's just talk about the smallest one first, which is personal development. This is real simple. Again, don't let social media use you, let yourself use social media. There's amazing, like nowadays, back in the days when I was younger in network marketing, I had to go and buy books or audio CDs of the most popular people that I know that I fell in love with for personal motivation, right? Nowadays, we go into YouTube or Instagram. The key is not to get distracted. Like, be focused when you do this, right? Look up personal motivation. Look up personal development or motivation, or look up leadership. These are the different kind of topics you want to be looking at. And some of my favorite people that I love to follow, my top favorite still is Jim Rohn. There's like Tony Robbins, right? There's Les Brown, there's Brian Tracy for sales training, and there's Jim Rohn for motivational and of course leadership. So start to create yourself a playlist of personal motivation, right? And your goal is every single week to spend 2 hours, if it's or 10% of your time, doing that. And here's the thing, I know a lot of people on the call probably spend a lot of time playing music and happy music, sad music, R&B, hip hop. Like, I don't know what you're listening to. All I'm saying is, if you want to relax, relax. But you know what? I find you gotta put at least 10% of your time that you promise you're gonna put in those hours per week, 10% into PD, personal development. So some keywords to look for here is motivation, inspiration, leadership. Of course, as CEO, look at his Forensic Networker channel. Absolutely. Follow these people and just spend 2 hours. If you're driving, if you're transiting somewhere, if you're on the subway going somewhere, don't play music. And honest to goodness, some people might be kind of cheap on getting themselves a YouTube music subscription or an Amazon, music subscription. Don't be, because it's a lot cheaper than going and buying hundreds and hundreds of books that I have back here. I have so many books I used to have to buy. Let me show you a little bit. Here is just a small portion of some of the stuff. You can even see the stuff. Yeah, that I used to. Okay, I gotta turn my camera properly. Yeah. Anyways, let's turn off my. There you go. These are all the stuff I used to read, and I still read sometimes. Then, of course, audiobooks came out, like amazing audiobooks. So it made it easier. You don't have to go and buy a book and sit down and read it. You can literally play. You could play these motivational trainings in your car. So I suggest you need, again, if you want to become more and earn more, you must become more. And to become more, you must invest more into yourself. If you want change, you need to change. if you want to change, you need to change. Otherwise, if you're not changing, you're going to repeat the same habits that got you to where you are today. So part of my biggest thing, being a geeky programmer, being kind of shy, really nervous in speaking in front of large crowds. I have a bad habit of talking really fast and not enunciating my words. I really had to invest in myself first, right? Invest in yourself. So again, I hope that makes sense. Personal development, the things you want to look for is like motivational, inspirational, leadership, all of those things. Thank you so much. Right? There's so many guys. Type in the group chat who you love to follow, right? Yes, Eric Thomas. You see a lot of people here. Also Eric Worre, not to mention a few, right? So Les Brown, thank you. My all-time favorite, still Jim Rohn. I put Tony Robbins for motivation, right? You know, John Maxwell, Brian Tracy, right? Just like that, suddenly you have a bunch of people to follow and listen to, and make sure, thank you, and make sure you go and listen to this stuff. Yes, I mean, if you go to my YouTube channel, I have so many videos and trainings on different topics. Grab one and play it, right? Okay, so fantastic. I hope that we've all agreed the 10% personal development, you have some people to follow, and let's go. There's even Instagram or YouTube people you can follow that's all about inspiration, all about motivation, right? Do that. Fantastic. Okay, 20%. On to the 20%. Now, the 20% of the time is in what we call team support. Team support. And if you're brand new, you don't have much team support to do. You're trying to build a team, right? But let's see here. What do you folks on the call believe is what encompasses team support? So what are the activities you're doing for team support? Let's see what your answers are here. What should you be doing for team support? What could that be? Thank you. Dealing with the my fives, absolutely. Right? People who ask their questions. Yeah, helping with back office help. Really, any questions that come in from your team, you want to help them. Yes, be a third. Yeah, exactly. You want to do your three-way phone calls, right? Absolutely. You want to do tours, right? Help your teams. And here's one as well too. When it comes to team support, I've seen a mistake happen where someone will ask someone else, like the sponsor, oh, I want to order products. Can you help me? And because the sponsor helped to enroll that person, they know the password, they go into their back office and place an order for them. Was that the right thing to do, folks? Let's just check here the proper way of team support. And why was that the wrong way? Why was it wrong for them to log in and help the person place the order? Or let's say they want to, so, I want to get a copy of the comp plan. And what they do is they actually go and send a PDF to that person. Aha. They never learn from themselves. They won't know how to navigate the back office. The worst part of this is imagine your team at 1,000 people or 10,000 people. Can you do that for every single person? So if everyone needs to rely upon you, what happens? You become the bottleneck. You become the bottleneck of the flow of information and support. And now, again, you can only handle so much, right? You can't handle this much. So you can only handle so much. So you're actually in the long term, you might think it's easier, and people do it because they feel it's easier. Okay, instead of having to show you click here, click there, click here, click there, or write the instructions on how to find it, you find it easier to just go and send that file to them. But again, thank you. You will get burnt out. More importantly, you are crippling your team. Write that down. I will not cripple my team by doing the basic things for them. You cannot. If you're on this call, if you're guilty, say I. I've been there before, done it many times. I constantly need to remind myself, teach people how to fish. As saying goes, right? If you fish for a man, you might feed him for a day. You teach them how to fish, they can feed for a lifetime, for generations. They've learned, okay? So yeah, so I'm glad everyone understands that. Never ever really do the work for someone else. Show them how to do it. Show them how to do it, right? And again, the best thing to do is to use the website or use the app, okay? So team support also involves, for all of your brand new prospects, what should we be going through with every brand new prospect? You can't assume everyone is going to become an expert the moment they start. You can't assume everyone is a seasoned networker. And even if they are a seasoned networker, they don't know our system yet. They don't know what's been working the best for the last 18 years in our company. We have to make sure they follow the system. So what is the very, very first thing that someone should be looking at, or you should be going over with someone the second that they launch? And I have my copy right here. Here we go. Thank you. Yulia's on fire today. Commandments that come, of course, in your welcome kit. And most importantly, the prosperity book. It seems funny. You can see my face. Prosperity book, right? Especially the first chapter talking about the perfect launch, how to perfectly launch. Now, if someone's brand new and they're on fire and you want them to get started right away and you don't have this book yet, well, guess what? Where can we find this book, team? Where can we find this prosperity book if it's not been mailed to them in the mail yet? Yes, in the back office. So yeah, it takes a bit of time to show someone where to click, but you know what? You show one person, that one person can show 100 or 1,000 more people. Is it easier for you to show 1,000 people or for you to show 20 people who show 50 people each? It's easier for you to show 20 people and they can show 50 people each than you showing 1,000 people yourself, right? So actually, have I been following the company's system? Have I been showing people and going through the prosperity book, right? Helping them make their list, talking about their whys, helping them to become good at prospecting, right? Learning the system. So the biggest thing, of course, for team support when it comes to your first generation is this. Now, here's a question for you. Let's say you launch one person, they're your personal person, they're your team. And this person is kind of brand new and they're great at inviting people, and you launch, let's say, 10 more people. So now you have 10 plus the original person, 11 people. Question for you, are those other 10 people your team? Would you consider them as your team, these other 10 people? Yeah. Are they less important than your personal, or are they more important, or are they equally important? Let's see your answers. They're equal, right? I mean, like, they're all important. They're all in your business, right? Yeah, I find that some people only want to work with the people they brought in because they're closer to them and they know them, and they're not willing to go into a branch, like a step in more, and help the next generation of people, because they're thinking, well, you know what? I assume for my person to take care of them. Can we assume that? Me personally, if you had one person that brought in 10 people, you want to become and go through this and make sure those other 10 people also go through the prosperity book and the 10 commandments, right? So it's called tap rooting, as we said before, right? You might know these 11 people, but with these 11 people, you can meet 1,000 more people. So I just wanted to remind people that one of the most important things that you want to do, and I see some teams do this really well, is to make sure that you create the My Five. And in the My Five, you want to really promote for your new partner to schedule a meet and greet call with their My Five. And I know some teams do this really well because every now and then I get someone say, you know, hi, Renee, I was asked to do a meet and greet call to get to know you. Perfect. I love that. I love that. Because, you know, sometimes in our system, we can't always see every single person who's coming on board and have their phone numbers. We don't have access usually to people's phone numbers, right? So if you have a brand new person that gets launched, aside from you meeting them, did you also introduce that person to their My Five and ask them to schedule a meet and greet call? So part of the reason, again, you know, why last week we talked about the importance of, again, starting to travel again and doing in-person events instead of just doing these Zoom meetings that we worked really well during COVID times. But one of the biggest things, again, in myself and Henry and Ifra traveling recently to Atlanta, and of course, Ifra continued on to Minnesota, is because it's amazing when you get a chance to meet people and spend some time with them, especially face-to-face. You build yourself such a deep like and trust, and you really help to inspire and take your team to whole new levels. All right. So again, it's not just the people you personally introduce. Every single person that launches in your team, you want to be reaching out to them if you can. You know, say, hey, can you introduce me to your new prospect, and call them and get to know them, and that makes someone feel a lot much more at home. Okay. And it's easier if you're in Toronto because people come to the office and we're meeting face to face, right? But especially if you're all over the world, let's do those Zoom calls, all right? So again, 20% of the time was for team support. 10% we already said was for personal development, sorry. And we're going to finish off with the biggest piece of the pie, the 70%, which was your income generating activities, the IGAs, right? And so let's talk about this. What counts? Write down, team, write down the group chat. What do you think counts as an income generating activity? What should you be doing on a daily basis, day in, day out, okay, to go and work that counts as IGA? Okay, I love this. I love it. Showing the business, showing the products, prospecting, wonderful. Phoning to set up tours, wonderful, amazing. Meeting new people, yes, amazing. Can I give you some folks some tips? Is it all right if I give some tips tonight? I recall when I was in Atlanta, I was doing a presentation and I was talking about the best kind of money you can earn is called sleeping money. Sleeping money. And I continued this conversation in the Wednesday tours in Toronto head office. The best kind of money you can earn is sleeping money, where you work hard, or beach money. Yeah, thank you, John. And you're now making money while you're sleeping or while you're at the beach. So you're making money now without working for it. The danger, the tip that I want to give you is this. You cannot earn sleeping money by sleeping. Okay? You cannot earn sleeping money by sleeping. That is the most messed up thing I've seen. It's like people get in and 6 months later, they're like, Renee, I'm not making my sleeping money. I'm like, well, where have you been? and they've been sleeping. We must work hard first, those 2 to 5 years, in order to get to sleeping money. But I can tell you, once you get there, it's where you want to be. It's amazing. There's no better feeling than every single day of the week, every hour, you know you're getting paid. Every time a sale happens, you know, and this week, you're gonna be getting a paycheck for that commission on your whole entire team, right? But yeah, you can't do it while you are sleeping. So let's get to work. All right, so in terms of the working, some things that I would suggest, again, so whatever hours you put, if you put, I have 20 hours to work per week, then 70% of that, which is 14 hours, you got to put into your IGA. The danger about the IGA is people really aren't spending the full 70% in IGA. They're like here and there. As our CEO has a training on the categories of network marketers, the sometimers is what he's talking about. You do the business sometimes when it's convenient, when it just comes around, but it's not your priority. It's not like you treat it as a serious part-time, like a job. It should be almost like a part-time kind of a business, right? And so my suggestion is, with the way things have happened, if you're lucky enough to work from home, my suggestion is do not work from home. Working from home, it feels like you're at home. And some of us, most of us, don't have the discipline yet to focus the 70%, the 14 hours of the 20 we're talking about, and actually do what we should be doing at home. Thank you. And you can't grow, you can't become more staying in your comfort zone. Just by stretching a little bit outside of your comfort zone, suddenly you become a lot more and you start to earn more. And so the most important thing is, if you're going to work from home, don't do it. Take your stuff and go anywhere. Go to any coffee shop. And why would you want to be at a coffee shop instead of being at home? Because you can bump into more people. You can talk to more people. You might run into the server at the restaurant, right? Do you want to know how I started building in Taiwan? And this is someone who has no idea how to speak Chinese back then. I just spoke English, didn't even know how to speak Mandarin. Didn't know where to meet people. I couldn't read any of the networking event meetings online. What I did was I took a bunch of jewelry. I had some tungsten and silver. I went to a Starbucks that I heard was in an area like downtown Taiwan where they had more foreigners or perhaps more business people that can actually speak English. And I sat my butt at a table with my jewelry open. And people would come by and see all this bling bling. And I would say, hello. And some people were like, just kind of like nod their head and walk away. Cool. Occasionally, I would hear someone say, hi. And I would say, well, do you speak English? And if they did, we just struck up a conversation. That led to a person named Jennifer, that led me to someone else, that led me to another person named Freeman, that actually started Taiwan with me altogether. And that person, Freeman, and I actually ended up doing a lot of translation stuff. And that's how I learned my Mandarin, was working with this person. And we were using Google Translate all the time to translate the old English tour into a Chinese tour. I learned Chinese that way. But my whole point though is, I didn't build that market by staying at home. I went out, go to the coffee shops, right? So one thing, if you can, whenever possible, I know it sounds nice to work from home, but unless you're somehow a master of prospecting online and making your calls to your warm market or cold market, if you're not having success doing that, you need to get out. Be in front of people. You need to get in front of people and go back to the human touch. That's so important, right? Okay, carrying on with IGAs. I always talk about this, right? Do you have your brochures? Do you have your brochures? You should always have a stack. I mean, again, to buy 100 pieces of our Fountain of Life brochure or the Safe Home Revolution booklet, it's like $35, something like that, for 100 copies. And I have never, ever in my history handed out 100 flyers or brochures and never made one sale that paid for the cost of those brochures. So here's another goal. Write this down. How many brochures do you want to hand out on a daily basis? Look, if you can do this, staying at home, sending messages on Facebook or social media, and build yourself a multi-million-dollar business, come teach me. I would love to learn what you're doing, right? But I've experienced now, after, again, almost 20 years in this industry, the fastest and quickest way to build your network marketing business is get out there, meet people, right? That human touch, that belly to belly business is so important. And so get your stack of brochures, right? I mean, I want to give, again, just want to congrats Ashley and Maria Baptiste and their team. I saw on Facebook with, I think it was Nora and her team in Niagara Falls. They were all together at this massive outdoor event, and they had a beautiful booth, right? So write this down: booths, trade shows, events, anywhere you can put up yourself up a table. Just put testimonial. Again, we train this in Atlanta. There's 3 things you got to have at all times, whether you're at a trade show or you're at a coffee shop or you're prospecting online on your phone or your iPad or your tablet or your computer. There's 3 things we always got to have. Number 1 is the brochure. The physical copy is best, or the e-copy if you're online. Write this down. Number 1, the brochures. Number 2, you got to have what with you? What's number 2, folks? The 3 things we always got to have with us at all times to make sure we're going to give ourselves the highest chance of success. First one is brochure. Thank you, Tanya. Correct. You got to have the product. You got to have the product. If you have someone that wants to buy toothpaste or Fountain of Life, today I sold 7 more bottles to someone, one of my older customers. I always have it in my trunk. So number 1 is brochures. Number 2 is you got to have the product with you. And what's the 3rd thing you always got to have with you so you can show someone? Thank you, Raymond. Yes, the testimonials. The testimonials. Print them out. Let's be professional, right? Do you have a printout of testimonials you can show someone? It's easier that way, right? So thank you. AJ, our superstar in Singapore, has it in a folder. I know Maria has it as well too. But if you're at a trade show, you want to stick it up all over your backdrop, right? The testimonials. So tomorrow, actually, I got invited to go back on that crazy $5 million yacht. I went golfing with the owner, and there's about 35 guys, just guys, going out on the boat, his event, and just chit-chatting. What do you think I am bringing with me tomorrow on this yacht, this 100-foot yacht? What do you think? The same things I just talked about. I'm bringing definitely a ton of brochures, at least 35. There's 35 people going, apparently. I'm definitely bringing bottles. Now, so I have my backpack ready to go. I've got that prepared. And of course, I've got testimonials in my a few family packs. Absolutely. Momentum pack, yeah. Right? And so definitely in my car, I literally have 30 bottles in my car right now. And so I'm gonna probably maybe grab a bit more in the morning, but I have at least 30, which should be good. Should be good. And so And of course, I had the testimonials on my phone, but also a binder. Now, I might not use a binder because I want to make it look like I was just there and I have it on my phone. That's more convenient, right? And you know my story. If someone wants to buy one, I just tell, I just picked some up more for myself and my father. I just have it in my bag. So I think we covered that last time about how I never tell someone that's brand new, I don't know, that I'm the one selling the product. Usually people ask me, well, where can I buy it? And my answer is, well, you know what? Actually, it's so good that it worked for my dad. I put another group order. It is cheaper. And I actually have some in my bag. If you want, you just buy one off of me. And the reason why I do that, instead of me saying, oh, here, I sell it, just buy it from me, is because some people, they just happen to judge. If they find out that you're the one selling it, they might think like, they might just think something weird. And so I always like to use the third party story, which is, oh, you have knee pain? Well, guess what? My dad had the same thing too. And he tried this product and it really helped. I didn't even mention the product. They always ask, well, what is that product? Oh, it's called the Fountain of Life. And here's, so I kind of explain a little bit of what it is, the story of FOL. As I trained before, I always explain the story. So if you try to explain the science, here's why. Facts tell, but stories sell. Sharing too much facts to someone who's not a scientist will bore them to boredom. Okay, and you're gonna lose them. So I share stories. I share the story of my dad. I share the story of how FOL came to be and how it really helped them. The tree, the branch grows by itself, self-healing, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antioxidant. And I use a brochure, I use the tools to show. So again, are you spending your 70% of your time, as we just discussed, in booking a trade show? Have you booked yourself a trade show? Have you booked yourself your next event? In Minnesota, the team asked, well, Renee, where do you find these events? Google. Whatever city you're in, just type in city trade shows, city networking events. You will find a whole bunch pop up. And honest to goodness, it doesn't even matter if the networking event or the trade show seems completely unrelated to the product that you're selling. Go anyways. Like there could be a trade show on like lumber or for like wood construction people. Go. Put up a booth for Fountain of Life. Why do you think that's a good idea? So again, there's health trade shows and you can put a booth for Fountain of Life. And let's say there is a construction trade show and you put up a booth for Fountain of Life. Why do you think that still works? Well, if you're at a health trade show, yeah, it's for health, but every other vendor that's there is selling a health product, yes? But if you're at some construction worker trade show and everyone there is about steel or lumber or something, and you're the only booth, don't you stick out? Don't you stand out as what the, I'm seeing construction, metals, hard hats, boots, bam, I'm seeing Fountain of Life. Like what the, that helps you. So you don't care what that trade show is for. It doesn't have to be about franchise trade show or health trade show. Just get yourself a booth anywhere. I can promise you, yeah, dare to be different because it's to your advantage to stand out. And people become curious about, well, what is this? And that's what you want. You want this to draw people to your booth so you can start a conversation. That's it. And being in a health trade show, sometimes there's so many other competitors there, right? So thank you. Stand out from the crowd. Absolutely. So have you booked yourself the next trade show? If you're the only person in your market, go by yourself. If you launch a few team members, ask your team, hey guys, who wants to go with me to do a trade show where we can meet thousands of people or hundreds of people and start selling products like crazy and just explode our business. And that's exactly what IFRA did, and people like Maria did and Nora did this past few weekends. Hats off to you guys, amazing, right? Okay, so we have trade shows, all right. Oh yeah, Gina's saying that she saw how many brochures Maria Baptiste gave away during the Niagara Falls activity last weekend. She talked to so many people. It was just amazing, inspired, and kept me on my toes though. Absolutely. Maria's also talking about the next trade show she's already booked in Hamilton and in North York. Beast, a beastess, a very polite way to just to recognize you, Maria. You are just out there. You are a beast when it comes to this, right? So trade shows, events, farmers markets. That's another one. Look at where is your next local farmers market. Get a booth there. Look, I'm just telling you what can really expedite your success in this business. You can sit there and think, well, you know what? It sounds like a lot of work and I'm kind of shy. Well, you're not going to evolve. You're not going to become more. You're not going to learn more. You're not going to achieve more. Being in your comfort zone. We already talked about that. You cannot remain in your comfort zone. And you need to practice, right? What's the saying? Practice makes perfect. But we like to say the perfect practice makes perfect. So you gotta get yourself out there. Now don't be shy. There's so many wonderful people you will meet and so many wonderful people that you will help. There's also so many people that might ignore you, and that is okay because we're going to these events with the right mindset that we want to help someone. And we already know that Fountain of Life can help everybody. It's just remarkable, right? And so aside from that, I want to add another thing you should be doing in your 70% prospecting, of course, is your own one-on-one tours or your home tours. Home tours are great for you to invite your warm market. You know, strangers, I don't know, right? But your warm market, definitely invite someone to come to, hey, why don't you come on over for dinner? It's been a long time. And maybe after dinner, I could talk to you about something. You don't even have to bring up the business. Just invite someone to catch up at your home for dinner or go out somewhere. And then that's a great chance for you to go and talk about your business. If you want training on how to bring up and talk about the business, well, you know what? That was in my last week's training recording, a Saturday morning training that we have it actually recorded. We actually had the recording from the Saturday boot camp when I was in Atlanta. And I will, yes, to do, upload it. I have it in my to-do list, upload to YouTube. And you'll find it on my YouTube channel, Renee Liao, okay? So you're gonna be, so literally everywhere you go, again, going back to the first one about the coffee shop, carry your brochures at all times. You're in the parking lot and you see someone get into the car, you're going to say, hello, good evening, how's it going? Great. You know what? Do you mind if I give you this? Boom. Again, all that training on how I use the brochures and how I bring it up, like I just don't throw it into someone's hand or don't do that. You want to be polite and you want to ask them, may I give you this? So after you have a restaurant guy who serves you your bill, thank you for your service, may I give you this, right? You go to the bank, they fulfill your banking needs, say, thank you for your service, compliment, may I give you this, right? So everywhere you go, every day, okay, you get 70% of the time. So now you need to know, okay, well, at that time, so let's say you had 20 hours per week and 70% of the time, that's 14 hours in prospecting. Yes, Uber drivers. I did a tour last week with one of my Uber drivers. Actually, no, my tow truck driver who brought Hiding the Boys home after the wheel popped after the tennis tournament. I was at another meeting. And even the Uber driver who brought me home from Atlanta. This is actually his small business. This thing he gave to me. He's like a staffing agency. And we're going to connect next week. Everywhere I go, I actually recorded the whole conversation on my phone. I should upload it if you want to hear it. You just kind of hear how I just kind of build like and trust, you know? But then all the questions that I asked was in the training that I just did, of course, in Atlanta, that's recorded. And so, upload, voice memo. Yeah, actually, it's to show you while you're all here. It's 28 minutes long. A scientist in northern Finland. His wife was like asking him to cut down this tree that was blocking the light to the kitchen. It's Norwegian spruce tree, all right? And he cuts it down, and then the broken branches on the floor. It goes on. He's telling me what he does now. So it's like literally a 28-minute conversation from the airport back to my house. Okay, yeah, so I will upload it and put it onto my YouTube as well. Okay, so just add me on YouTube and you'll see it there by tomorrow. Okay, or latest Friday. All right. So we talked about 70% of your IGA time. That's 14 hours. If you said 20 hours a week, that's 14 hours of it. Handing out the 100 brochures, right? You're going to be doing a trade show, hopefully. That'll take a few hours. Doing some events, maybe some farmers market, maybe doing a home tour, right? Your weekly tours, okay? And so, by the way, the 10%, just to go back, in personal development, that also includes your training. So, we have at least the Monday night training and the Tuesday night training. So, you might have to adjust some of your time if you don't have enough hours, because again, we have Monday night product crossfire, Tuesday night this training. We have Saturday morning an hour training roughly, and the Wednesday morning testimonial call. But the testimonial call Wednesday morning is not really a training, it's more like prospecting. You should be bringing your prospects onto that Wednesday morning training, right? So I want to add that's part of your personal development is the training as well too, okay? So that's 14 hours. And I really wanted to think about, okay, well, last week, how did you spend your time? Let's just think back to just 1 week here. Okay. So last week, you had, I don't know how many hours. What did you do last week? What did you do last week? Barbecue, sports, TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Crunchyroll, and there's so many more online things to watch nowadays. This phone call, this gossiping with this friend, that gossiping with this friend, right? Where'd that time go? So if we don't start to treat our business like at least like a part-time job where you gotta clock your hours, you gotta clock those hours, right? You got punch card. The olden days when you get to work, you got punch in and punch out. If you're not tracking and clocking your hours, it's no wonder you're not where you want to be. Let me ask you a question. Would you want to be sponsored by yourself? What does that mean? Would you want to be your own sponsor? Or would you rather someone like Ramin be your sponsor, or Snaz be your sponsor, or like Ronan, or someone like, Henry or Ifra or, Maria be your sponsor? If you can say yes, you're doing the right things, hands down. That means you know your stuff, you're following the system, and you're confident you can lead yourself. But if you can't say yes, it means that you haven't done enough of today's breakdown, the 70-20-10, prospecting, team support, and most importantly as well, personal development. I just want to give it to you real, because I know there's a lot of great fluff training out there and rah, but this is what you got to do. I think I've always been more of a practical trainer, I think this was what I needed, was just the practicalities of what I should be doing, what should I be saying. And I hope that today's training helped you. I saw one question come in from Bella. Where do you allocate blog writing and social marketing? Yes, that would be in your prospecting. So, but again, of the 70% of the time you're going to do prospecting, that part about blog writing or social marketing, just be careful how much of that 70% you allocate to that. If you put 69% of the 70% into that and it's not turning results, then you begin to shift some of those percentages around, right? So I love the honesty, and I'm only giving to you what I know we need to do to achieve this amazing income. But when you get that income, I'm telling you, it's the best thing ever. Every day being able to decide, what to do, not be worried about money, decide where to travel, buy what you want to buy, and most importantly, build a legacy for your family, generational income. And I love what Tanya said here, that she's thinking differently. She needs to be more committed and dedicated to doing more so that she can become more for herself and for your team. Yes, we must lead by example. The whole thing of, do as I say, but don't do as I do, because if you do what I do, you'd have nothing to say, right? It's speechless. You're not doing much, nothing to talk about, right? And more importantly, if you can lead by example, it means that you've walked the talk, you're doing what actually works. And tonight's training, I hope, has really imparted with you some realities of what you must be doing and focusing on to absolutely, and you can explode your business. But it's got to start sometime. It's got to start when? When are you going to start? Let's see your answer, folks. When are you going to start the change of your life? When is enough enough? And when are you going to put that stake in the ground? So, from today onwards, I'm going to be a whole new version of myself. When does that start? I hope the answer is today, right now. That right now, at this moment, my DMO, my weekly method of operation, my daily method of operation, the way I'm going to build my business will change today. And I hope that starts this very minute, tonight, at 9:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, probably 23 seconds in, but it starts tonight. And I promise you, if you do this change tonight, and you keep it consistent, week in, week out, you will not recognize yourself a month from now, but you will love who you have become. So that being said, thank you so much, folks, for an amazing time tonight with myself. And our CEO is actually in the wedding in Greece for Kevin, his best friend. He'll be back probably next week with you all. But again, thank you so much for being on the call tonight, folks. I will get those videos uploaded to my YouTube channel. And again, as always, we are one team, one dream to the billion. My goodness, I almost forgot. Okay. The personal developments that we talked about before. And in combination, there's one thing that encompasses all three, from prospecting, team support, and personal development. That is getting yourself onto the conference and the cruise. Because when you're at the conference, we have tour night, so you're prospecting. At the conference, you want to invite your team, and you're supporting your team that's going to be there. And at the conference, you're getting personal development and training. So conference is all three at the same time. So if you haven't bought your tickets yet, please, please, please buy your tickets right now. Again, there's a maximum capacity. If you are a new person in your first 30 days, you can access, of course, the early bird price of $159 by sending in a support ticket to buy your ticket. Otherwise, I do have a few tickets left at the $159 early bird pricing, and contact me to get yourself that ticket, okay? And I'm going to leave you my email address and my phone number if you want to get that early bird ticket. If you have any questions, I'm always here to help everyone as well too. Again, please get yourself to the conference, and most importantly, we have the amazing cruise that's happening in February of next year. Again, the cruise is going to be the same thing. Definitely a lot of fun. People like Amarjeet and Maria, they're prospecting on the cruise. You know, like it's crazy prospecting on the cruise. It's your team supporting on the cruise. And of course, you're also doing amazing personal development. You're going to change as a person by being on the cruise. So, wow, 10 p.m. on the clock. Back to, of course, our wonderful, wonderful host of the week. Of course, Korean, it's back to you. Thank you so much for being our host. Again, to our Office Global family, love you all. One team, one dream to the billion. Thank you so much. I think you're still muted. I think your camera's turning on. Korean? Oh, hi there. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you're a bit choppy though, but I can kind of hear you.
So thanks so much for that. So, guys, I know you all gained a wealth of knowledge tonight, and I just want to reiterate that your 1 hour spent here tonight is part of your 10% personal development. So thank you guys, and congratulations to all of you. Okay. Hello, guys. You hear me?
Okay, I'll just end up the call for you because I think your connection's a bit unstable and you're kind of cutting in and cutting out. I believe I already handled all of the announcements. Again, do not miss our Saturday morning call as always. And I'm actually very blessed that this coming Sunday will be our leadership cocktail. And again, I get a chance to actually be part of that call and I guess talk a little bit more about my journey and my sort of path growing up in just in general growing up, but also within network marketing and of course in Opulence Global. So again, this coming Sunday, 10 a.m. we have the leadership cocktail with yours truly. We'd love to see you on the call as well too. And of course, that call is not really more about training. It's more about just sort of how I got to where I am today and some of the struggles and some of the things I had to go through for myself to get to where I am today. So, and of course, Saturday morning at 10 a.m., we do have our usual trainings. Of course, tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., we have our weekly testimonial call. If you're not aware of the testimonial call, you can find the link, again, in your back office under the webinar of events, or just message someone in your My5. And of course, Wednesday evening, we will have our weekly tour in the Toronto office. Okay, so that being said, thank you everyone for being here this evening. Corianne, I guess I apologize for doing your part for you, but I think your connection was a bit unstable. And wishing you all a wonderful evening, morning, or afternoon. Okay, to the billion, everyone. Yeah, you're still a bit kind of choppy. Sorry about that. But again, thank you so much. And yeah, have a great night, everyone. To the billion, to the billion. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.